All right, you ready?
Yep, ready.
We'll start with the intro.
Sure.
Yo, what's up, viewers? It's Tyler here of Chico Crypto. I'm sitting on the beach of Miami, Florida with Colin Closser, co-founder of PeerAtlas.
Yep. How's it going, guys?
So, Colin, for viewers who are unaware of what the PeerAtlas platform does, could you explain it for my viewers?
Sure. So it's a platform that's designed to take the information that healthcare professionals use to treat patients, like decision-making information, and take it from behind a paywall that the highest quality information is currently. It's largely behind a paywall. It's a pretty substantial subscription fee, which limits its access both in the U.S. and in Europe and worldwide. So yeah, we want to make medical information free. When we say that, that's what we're referring to.
So, I mean, it's not only going to benefit people within the United States. This is a global platform for global information.
It's a completely global platform.
Awesome, awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Cryptocurrency. So, one thing I like to ask all my people who are on my show, how'd you first get into cryptocurrency?
Right, so Brad, the founder, Brad Mattson, Dr. Brad Mattson, he bought Bitcoin in the very end of 2016. And like anybody that owned Bitcoin then, they probably noticed that it kept going up in price. So it kind of caught my attention when it broke its previous all-time high, when it went above 1,200.
Yep.
I was like, I thought I knew what Bitcoin was. I thought it was something that, I didn't own any. I thought it was something that like people on the internet used to like send money and buy drugs and stuff, you know. But then when it got past 1,200, I was like, why is it so high? Is there something that I'm missing about Bitcoin? And then I kind of fell down the rabbit hole. When you start researching Bitcoin, you're like, oh my God.
And then you learned about the tech and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, immutable ledger.
Yep, distributed secure ledgers. They didn't exist 10 years ago.
No, nothing.
No.
Nothing. So, besides, of course, PeerAtlas and Neo, could you tell me about some projects you're interested in?
Projects I'm interested in, I did some smart cash mining earlier, so I've kind of always, I held that through the huge spike it had in January. So I'm kind of like interested in that. I check in on that. Most of the projects I'm interested in are not mineable currencies. They're not mined through proof of work, but smart cash right now is. So it's a little bit of a like something. I mean, my main holding is Neo. I don't mind saying that. So, and I've been working so hard on this project that I haven't had a lot of time to focus on like other ICOs or other projects.
So you're busting your ass for your own. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Like I need to look at what they're doing well and doing poorly, but I haven't. The last time I went through like a list of currencies from like an investor point of view was like 5 or 6 months ago. Like researching like 100 currencies and seeing if any of them are like undervalued or anything like that.
So through this process of creating PeerAtlas, tell me some things you've learned.
Blockchain is about community. I mean that totally. Blockchain is about community. Like there's no way to have like currency is about community, and people don't understand that because their country issues the currency, and you're basically forced to be in a community with your country, so you don't see it for what it is, such a large user base. But then when you stop being backed by a country, and you understand the power of a large pool of users. There's not a coincidence that the countries with the strongest currencies have some of the higher populations.
Yeah.
There's not like a great deal of like worldwide reserve currencies coming from countries with like less than 10 million people. So
I mean, the most used currencies are China, yuan, and the US dollar.
US dollar, British pound, Japanese yen.
Yep.
Like all those are highly regarded. And like the Russian ruble, and I mean, there's billions of people. That's the base currency for billions of people. So cryptocurrency right now doesn't have billions of users. So it's just statements like this is the one that like blockchain is about community. I think is especially true in crypto because most of the projects in crypto don't have enough users to be as useful as they should be or could be.
Yep. Agree 100%.
Possibly the only crypto that you could argue doesn't need more users is Bitcoin, and even Bitcoin market sometimes can act a little thin. Like during the end of this last bear cycle that we had, I would argue at like the middle of March, the Bitcoin market volume was garbage.
Completely.
Everything looked like garbage. People were complaining about those BART patterns. Yeah, it's not enough volume means that it's easier to set the price just by buying or selling.
Exactly. That's
so
what
you get these weird manipulations that are just meant to shake out margin traders, liquidate margin traders. So I would say that was a pretty unhealthy looking market. So yeah, there's not a single project in crypto that wouldn't be better if it had 5 times the user base. So blockchain is about community.
Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, I like the technology of the altcoins, but I'm on like one of the biggest altcoins I could get my hands on because I expect any token to have a market against its native asset that it's minted on. So in our case, that means NEO, and I'm very happy to be on NEO. But the one thing that it does not do better than Ethereum is have a like market liquidity. Yeah, exactly. And user base. Everything else, and I think that'll come around. But everything, everything else. Yeah, everything else is there.
So you're talking about the bear market we just went through. Tell me about your feelings through that. Were you shaking a little?
I would say that what was going on with PeerAtlas was a little bit more. That was since I got into crypto, that was the 3rd severe correction cycle that I've seen. I've watched AntShares, NEO. I've watched NEO trade under $5 in a dip at high volume, heavy volume, not a spike. I've watched NEO trade under $15 on a dip, and I watched NEO trade under $45 on this, or under 50 certainly. On this latest correction, do a lot of volume under 50. So I think it pretty much goes with the territory. Notice that the 5, 15, and 45 valleys were 3x the previous valley. So I try to maintain some perspective. But yeah, I mean, it's been a difficult market for any ICO to launch in. Yeah. PeerAtlas not being an exception. So.
Oh, well, I mean, the bulls are coming back.
Oh, so. Yes, they are. But it's, we had people absolutely banging down our door to get their hands on pre-sale tokens that when the pre-sale wasn't even open yet. And so now just in the last week or two, there's been like people inquiring and asking me about like, what are the metrics and like coming back around to it. But the price had to recover first.
If you had the ideal investor, who would that be?
Any doctor that wanted to use the platform is the ideal investor.
Yeah, I mean, getting your token in front of someone that can utilize it.
Yep, can utilize it, and that their licensing board, they work in a specialty that PeerAtlas covers, or will cover first, and that has a licensing board that accepts CME credit hours from our platform. That would be the tier 1 user, like there is that is the final community of PeerAtlas. So
explain CME credits.
Yeah, so if you're a licensed physician, a specialist, you're licensed through your medical boards. That's what they refer to when they say passing the boards. They administer an exam at the end of your residency that approves you in the specialty that you're trained in. Okay. So for instance, Brad is a board certified radiologist. Okay. He passed the radiology board. So when you use medical information resources, when you use, let's say, like our main competitor, but I don't mind saying their name is UpToDate, and when you use their platform, you're awarded CME credits for your use of the site for, let's say you use the site like 10 hours in a certain week researching treatment options for the patients that are under your care. So you get 5 or 10 CME credit hours. At the end of the year, you can send them into your licensing board, and there's certain types of continuing medical education requirements that you have to fulfill every year to be legal to practice medicine, to maintain your license. Wow. That's how your doctor knows what's going on in the last year, and they're not just products of when they graduated from their medical school. Like you have to keep up with the.
You got to keep earning.
Yeah, you have to keep up with the latest developments and the latest studies. So that's how medical the medical field keeps its professionals up to date. Okay. And we would CME industry, even though most people haven't heard of it, in the U.S. it's between $2 and $3 billion a year.
Wow.
Gross. So I mean, there is a lot of money and time and effort that goes into CMEs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of pie for everyone.
And has there been much innovation in CME technology?
Yes,
platforms?
I would say that they all went online, or a lot of them went online in the last 10 or 20 years. That has been the innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Where you used to schedule on, a couple weekends a year, you'd go and take classes or courses. And now maybe because you had textbooks and they didn't give you CME credit for reading a textbook, but now maybe you're using a web-based platform that knows how much time and how many clicks you have and how many articles you've read.
Yeah.
And it can paint a picture, a profile of you as using it, and then assign credit hours based on that.
Wow.
Like the gold standard of medical information is an online resource, is up to date,
Mm-hmm.
and they do award CMEs for the use of the site.
Okay, so explain PeerAtlas's ultimate vision of the platform. What is it?
In 5 years or in 40 years?
5 years.
Okay.
Then 40 years.
In 5 years, Brad's vision is that the medical information that is currently best accessed behind a paywall is now equally as high quality and free.
Completely free.
Completely free worldwide. Yes.
Mhm.
So in 5 years, that's got to be the main goal. There's other things that will go along with that, like widespread adoption of Atlas, and doctors buying Atlas, but that would come as a side effect of a successful information platform.
Mm-hmm.
So what else would I be looking for in 5 years? Just a big user base of doctors, so that if we choose to begin collecting anonymous patient data, we have a robust data set to work with.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about patient data like patient health records. I'm talking about like whether or not a treatment was successful. So we can start to verify clinical trials that are responsible for bringing like new medications and new treatment processes into medicine in the first place.
Okay.
So right now there is no like real-time verification of clinical trials through any electronic health records or anything like that. It does not exist.
Wow.
So I would want, in 5 years, I would want to be building the framework
For that.
Mm-hmm. And in 40 years, I would want it to would need to be exist and be fine-tuned.
Mm-hmm.
And that from the medical perspective, which is the more important side of it, I don't mind admitting, the medicine is more important to PeerAtlas than the crypto.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's the goal: a real-time, a live, rolling clinical trial worldwide.
That's continually updating.
Continually updating. Yep.
Continually.
For different patient groups, different treatment regimens, different vital signs, different genetics.
Wow.
Like different.
So you could profile a person.
You could profile. Yeah, you could profile a person. You could profile whether or not a generic drug was as effective as a brand name drug, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. If there was any question, you could see whether the data supports.
Okay.
Right now, you'd have to like launch a brand new study just to ask that question.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like. People they assume that there's like a worldwide healthcare monitoring service that just automatically tracks all patient data, or like whether even basic questions like whether or not a treatment was effective, like a patient took a blood pressure drug and what's the average number of points that they would expect it to drop. Now, there's a clinical trial in the past that studied that, but we're not verifying it like, oh, well, it looks like blood pressure drugs cause a bigger drop in blood pressure now than they did 10 years ago. Why is that? Did something change in people's diets? Or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Are they cheaper, so people are taking the full dose and not stretching their medications anymore if they don't have insurance? Like, all kinds of real-world questions I hope to come to light. And that's like the end game for our platform.
Mm-hmm.
We probably should have a 100-year plan, but if we get that in 40 years, I'll retire, and who knows what the future will bring.
Who knows what the future will hold for PeerAtlas.
Some young little kids that we'll both hate are going to come and turn everything upside down again, and,
Yeah, no.
We'll be old men.
So, PeerAtlas, what was the drive for it? Like,
that paywall, Brad snapped. He didn't know how to code. He never coded anything. He lost it. Like, he was a third-year medical student. I wasn't in medical school yet. I think I was applying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he like, maybe I was a first year medical student. Yeah, he couldn't take it anymore. He's like, why is there a paywall here? Because he wasn't at the hospital. The hospital bought him access to the resource, so he needed to look something up, and he couldn't. Like, WebMD is garbage. Sorry, WebMD, you're garbage.
You're garbage.
Like, Medscape is not good enough to base like treatment plans off of. You can't treat patients with this type of information. Like, I trust Wikipedia more.
Yep.
But what? So we're just getting everything else on the internet you can find for free or download or at least pirate. Like, what the?
Why is there medical information?
Like, yeah, why is there like a cartel, an effective cartel, but an information cartel for medical information? This seems like against what we grew up with. Like, I grew up with Linux around, you know, like everything's supposed to be open.
LimeWire.
Yeah, everything, guys. You can make Wikipedia. Everything's supposed to be open source, crowdsourced, freely available worldwide. Like, you don't see people. There's no like torrents that you can't download in Malaysia.
So, with regular platforms right now, how do doctors contribute to?
A few of them get hired to write.
Just a few.
Well, yeah, because we don't need every doctor. So there's two ways that happen. First off, people do clinical trials. Drug companies pay for clinical trials, unfortunately. And then also doctors hold clinical trials as part of research or residence, or, you know, there's doctors that do research. So there you have that's like the primary level data. And then like the competition and us will recruit doctors to summarize the latest studies into a set of recommendations that doctors use to treat patients. And then if they reference the studies, so if you want to go back and say, well, what was the original, why are they recommending this blood pressure drug? Like, what was the study that led people to believe that this was a better way of treating them than the old way? You can go back and read the paper.
Okay.
So, like, well, similar to how Wikipedia uses extensive citations these days, like, we have the same citations. So you can, the doctors do the summarizing and the writing, and then other doctors and like anybody that funds a clinical trial that gets approved, we have that data available as well.
Nice.
So if you think of like the papers themselves as a primary resource, like PeerAtlas and its competitors in the field are secondary resources that are like accumulate a doctor writing about all the papers and all the standard treatment in the field and putting them together in one place.
Okay.
So
could you explain the token economics?
This is my wheelhouse. Atlas is my baby. Yeah, I'm proud of our metrics. We'll have the total supply is fixed at 100 million. Those of you who hold NEO, that might sound a little familiar.
Yep.
67 million circulating supply when crowd sale ends.
Okay. Nice.
So like the token will be 67% held
by the public.
By the public at a minimum. And it'll go up after crowd sale. That will increase after crowd sale. So, yep. Team 3%, foundation 30%.
Okay.
So, like, it's, I feel like, I think NEO would be better if there was 80 million NEO in circulation and NEO held 20 million. I don't think NEO realized, God bless them, how successful they were going to be.
Oh, no. When they started Ant Shares to Hongfei, I mean, no one imagined.
No one imagined. It was a success, but they didn't think that they would be this successful.
No.
So I wish that NEO had less NEO, because they don't need it to run the operations, and all it does is hinder its future performance as a store of value, as a currency, functional currency.
Well, I think that's very admirable of you guys to provide 30% for the foundation, for the growth.
Yeah, well, it's just like, what would I want to buy? Like, would I want to hold a token that was majority held by a team? No. I wouldn't want to hold a token that was majority owned by anyone.
Yeah. No, if it's over 51%,
well, like, I don't want to have a situation where Atlas is just something that people buy because they have to and it's garbage. I want Atlas to be good, like a good idea executed well that backs a good project.
It has good utility.
Yeah, real utility. It transacts well. It doesn't inflate on you. It's not it's not wrecking anything by making mining or having mining cartels influences politics. It's a good store of value. Like, if the team and the foundation allocations are too big, you start to, maybe on paper we'd have more Atlas, but I think we'd have more of something that wasn't as good.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have less of something good.
Yeah, no. I mean, PeerAtlas is sounding like the best medical project in the crypto space, hands down. I mean, a lot of the projects, I'm not gonna, Patientory, well, a few of those literally have no vision, no plan. It's just literally a money grab, and I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, to be fair, they're trying to do different things than we are. Like, Patientory is not a information resource for doctors. They're trying to put patient records, like private patient information on like a secure blockchain.
On the blockchain, yeah.
I am not defending medical crypto in general. Like, for instance, Patientory, which Tyler mentioned, they happen to not have any doctors on their team. So I'm not sure how they're gonna. It's difficult to advocate for patients if you don't have any professionals. I'm not saying that you need to be made up of all doctors or only doctors can do this or that. That's all nonsense. But
you better have a doctor resource if you're creating a medical.
At least advisor at a minimum, but really there should be a doctor that's
leading the team,
on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I mean, we wrote the white paper, a little while after we saw Patientory go, and we thought, wait a minute, that was a $50 million coin last summer.
Yeah.
Market cap. And they had a successful ICO, and like, I read the white paper. I was a doctor. I am a doctor, a medical doctor, and I didn't understand what they were trying to do.
I read it too, and I was confused. Yep.
And like, I shouldn't be confused about a medical project.
No.
And Patientory, probably one of the better medical projects in the space, despite all the tough talk we're giving it right now.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better ones. So think about what I'm saying about the others.
So that's gonna conclude us to why should everyone become part of the PeerAtlas community?
Well, that depends on why you're coming. So if you're a doctor, it's because we're making Wikipedia 2.0 with higher quality information. If you're not a doctor, we can't put that part of the answer in the video because I'm inviting speculation.
Yeah.
Price speculation. If you're not a doctor, it's because you believe in the team. And you think it's a good project, you want to support it, and you want to have a successful investment.
Yep.
If you're not a doctor, it's because you want to buy into a good project where the team controls less than half of the tokens.
Perfect. Yep.
We'll see. I've seen token metrics go the wrong way, where it used to be 10. All the teams took 10%, and all the teams are taking 20%.
Yeah, sometimes
it's
more.
It's like, where's the fundamental? Has anyone have any of your viewers even tried to sell 0.1% of the circulating supply of anything on any exchange ever? Go out and try and move 0.1% of a token. You will annihilate the price trying to sell, and you'll pump it beyond belief trying to buy. So it's not even possible for a team to have a 20% and cash out even a 100th of it and not absolutely ruin the trading price. Yep. So this is why, like, I talk about having less of more than, more of something that's worth less. Like, if someone sells 1% of it's just gonna, the crypto markets are so sensitive compared to the market cap that only a little movement radically affects the price.
Oh yeah.
One big buyer or one big seller absolutely will move the price of even a top 50 crypto.
Oh yeah, hands down.
So what I'm trying to say is that moving 0.1% of a crypto is an absolute nightmare for everyone involved. So how are teams taking more than 10%? I can't even fathom what that would do to the market cap of a project if the team actually decided to cash out over a few months.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine how damaging that would be to the market.
I agree 100%.
So that would be another reason that doesn't involve speculation. Just I I think there's a lot of projects with unsound token metrics, and blockchain is such a good idea that right now they're getting away with it. But I don't have to like it.
That stuff's not going to last forever.
No, it won't last forever. So, like, you know, when blockchain levels off, how is your project going to sustain growth if it's bleeding inflation through mining, if there's other causes of inflation, if the team is constantly selling off team allocation, like, you know, and let's say the market goes sideways, some projects will be successful and some won't be successful despite the sideways overall market cap.
Yeah.
So what kind of tokens will succeed in a more mature crypto environment? I think they're going to be ones with more community distributed, more equitable token metrics. So that's been my, like, that and putting it on Neo, because the Neo consensus technology is so good. But the token metrics are probably what I'm most proud of. Brad would talk about the information, and he should, because he's a better doctor than I am. So,
well, Colin, your project's very, very admirable. You're a good friend of mine already.
Yeah,
And
great.
I wish you the best of luck, dude.
Thank you, Tyler.
And I know PeerAtlas is going to be successful, brother.
All right, let's make it happen.
Oh,
man.
yeah, brother.